Hello, everybody. Thank you for listening to this presentation that I'm doing today about Miro as an education tool. So let's make sure that the screen is visible. So first of all, I would like to acknowledge that today I am presenting and sharing with you from the unceded and traditional territories of the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh Nation. I feel very grateful to be able to live and play in this beautiful land. So, jumping in, what is Miro? I'm gonna play a quick introduction video. We can make this work.
Miro is an online collaborative whiteboard platform. Well, what does that mean? Well, in the past, we used to use a lot of paper. Those are now online documents. And we used to send a lot of mail too. And now we use email. And we used to have the water. But now we have chatbots. The world has changed a lot. But what about the whiteboard? How has that changed? Well, now we have Miro, the online collaborative whiteboard platform.
All right. So let's get us back in Canva. Okay, so as you can hear from the video, Miro is a digital whiteboard platform. And just similar in the same way that we have email to replace, paper mails. Now we have Miro to replace the physical whiteboards that you use in the classroom or in the boardroom or in a meeting room. And so today what I want to talk about is Miro specific for education. How does Miro work for education? So there are many different ways that Miro can be used in an educational setting. Some of the examples will be, it can be used for brainstorming, it can be used for mind mapping, for group work, as well as for digital exhibition. So for synchronous as well as asynchronous classrooms, it is a really great tool for students to collaborate in the same platform where with some guidance from the instructor or the teacher to carry out these exercises in a creative and collaborative way. So let's go deeper and try to understand how Miro functions with the 4 E's. We're looking at exciting, educating, engaging, and evaluating. So I'm going to start with excite. So for this, I give Miro a grade A, and I will get into the demo a little bit later as well. But for what the platform does, it is a very colorful and a very interactive platform. And participants, in this case, all the students, as well as the teacher, while teaching or guiding students along, can play around easily and experiment with the tool. So there's a lot of options to create different stickers or adding images or videos to make the boards very interactive, very interesting with multimedia. But at the same time, if you don't like what you've just added, you can just delete the content. That makes it a really kind of fail-safe for the participants. So for this, it's very exciting, and some of the papers that I looked at from multiple universities in the world, including the likes of Oxford and Harvard, using Miro in their education, and there's a lot of good student feedback from using Miro as well. So in terms of educating, like I mentioned, and so in some of the references that I've looked at, their students give a lot of feedback in terms of how this tool helps them learn. And so one of the big things that is talked about when it comes to Miro is agile learning and teaching. And so as a teaching tool, as a learning tool, Miro boards were presented with a lot of transparency. It helps students to feel that it's a safe place to share, to collaborate, to try, and make mistakes in a really safe environment. And they can also use this platform for frequent and consistent communication as well. So I think as we saw in the video, instead of a physical whiteboard, it is a digital whiteboard, but it also helps instructors and teachers to present data in ways that are slightly more visual. And as we all know, students can learn many different ways, and some people are visual learners. And so having multiple ways of showcasing information is really helpful for students to learn. And also it's a great way for students to brainstorm and collaborate and learn that way, and also share their work with others for feedback and learn that way as well. So as an educational tool, Miro is very functional and a very useful tool that is a great A+. Okay, in terms of engaging, I actually give Miro A+. So it is a very, very engaging tool. And this also shows in many references that I looked at in terms of student feedback. But the students in this case feel like they are the designers, they are the experimenters, they are the creators. And there's a lot of autonomy that's given to them as they play around the platform once they get used to the platform. And a lot of trial and error is encouraged. Like I mentioned before, it's really easy to add, but also remove things that you do not like. And so students feel like they don't have to only do things right from the get-go, but they can also do trial and error as well. And it's really important because there is feedback in real time by other students in the class. It's a great way to get engaged. How does it do in terms of evaluating? I also think that this is an A for Miro, because there's many ways for the class or other students in the class to evaluate and provide feedback for one person's work or a group's work. And so collective feedback can be used as a way to evaluate the work and not just the evaluation by the instructor or the teacher. So that also helps with distribution of power and a real sense of fairness as well. Some consideration when it comes to using Miro, I do think that with 20 million users that they claim to have on their website, there's not a lot of consideration today for accessibility. So they don't have a accessibility statement on their website. Also, it's looks like it will be really difficult for students or users who need keyboard navigation, and for people who use screen readers. And so this is something that hopefully Miro will be addressing in their future versions. So right now I would really want to do a quick demo of the platform, because I do think that it's a lot easier to see how it's working with a demo. So let's jump right in. So this is a free account, and there are a lot more functionalities when it's a paid account, but for educational settings, it's really simple to just have everyone using a free account. And so what I'm looking at here is a Miroverse. Okay, so Miroverse is basically a platform or depository for all the templates, right? So it makes things really easy for people to kind of get started from somewhere. So here you can look at all the templates either by popularity or by functionality. So let's say for work or for company meetings, there are other things, but also for schools, we can look at things like brainstorming, we can look at things like team building, we can look at presentations, we can look at personal or language as well, or career resources. So there are many, many different templates that are already existing that can be used to get started, which makes it a lot easier. I have an example here of a brainstorming session. So in the setting of a classroom, for example, there is a problem that we want to tackle today. So this is where you can, it's a template that already exists, but you can share this problem with the classroom and then kind of send students into different rooms, right? And so this is a Disney brainstorming method, which I personally think is a great way to get people to come up with ideas that are different and creative. And so the first room that we are in will be called the dreamer room. So you can just drag and zoom in. And so in the dreamer room, this is for, let's say, students to think about a solution to a problem. And in the dreamer room, you could have a magic wand and do anything you want. What would you do to solve this problem, right? So in this room, there's really no barriers. There's really no considerations or limitations, right? And then once you finish with the dreamer room, then we go into the realistic room. And this is where you bring all the ideas from the dreamer room to bring it to reality, right? How can we make this happen in reality? How can we simplify it? What are the resources that we have to make this reality? And then last but not least is the critic room, right? So the critic room is like what could go wrong. So the students can also play devil's advocate and be very critical in this room as well. So this is one of the examples of a classroom setting where there's a problem-solving question and students can go from being very creative with no barriers to becoming very critical and thinking about all the weak points and the risk. And so they can kind of turn on different sides of their brain to figure things out. So that's one really quick demo of an example of how Miro can be used in the classroom in a very interactive, a very collaborative, and very creative way. So let me go back to the presentation. And so, yes, I'm going to open the room now for questions. And obviously, if you don't have any questions right now, you can also reach me at my email address or meet me at my office. But I would encourage you to take a look at what's available on Miro.com with the free version and play around because it's a really interesting platform. Thank you so much for watching the presentation today, and I hope you found it useful. And here are the list of some of the references that I use for this presentation. Thank you.